You know, one thing I love doing is I love catching Barry when he's right getting a sip of wine and we start the podcast.
Yeah,
Because
there you
this
go.
is Barry Morgenstein.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Protector, season 4 episode. I think we're on episode 28 of season 4. And I've really been looking forward to this one. And why is because Barry is one, if not the most prolific and probably one of the best masters of taking a headshot, because he made me look good. And if anybody can make me look good, I don't even know, man. It's incredible. Barry, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me. And you look great. You're very photogenic, so
thank you.
Made my job easy.
Yeah, exactly. From my head up, from my shoulders up. I think we'll do that. There's a lot that goes into your job, and there's a lot that goes into headshots. It's not as easy as people think, believe me. When I first started doing the podcast, when I first started getting into this whole world of media and everything, I thought, hey, you know what? I'll just take a nice selfie with my phone. It'll look good. Or I'll get someone to take a picture of me with the camera and a little 35 millimeter, or little digital cameras. I'm not saying 35 millimeter. I'm not going to date myself that much. But I really thought that's all you had to do. But it is absolutely not. It is absolutely not. If you want to get beyond, the entry level of being in this business, into this game, you really do need a good headshot. And hence, that's why I reached out to Barry a while ago. Barry, where did this start? Where did this photography start? Because you've been around legends for decades. So let's talk about young Barry with that first camera.
Well, when I was in my teens, I really didn't have an interest in photography. Didn't really come into my early 20s. I was heavily into music. I played guitar in a band. Realized I wasn't going to get anywhere as a guitarist. I wasn't that talented, but all my friends were musicians, and I had a girlfriend at the time, was the lead singer in my band, and I just kind of picked up a camera and I started photographing her, photographing my buddies who were musicians. I realized, you know what, because of my love for music, I realized I had an eye to capture these people. So I kind of became basically a rock and roll photographer for a while, and it just came natural because of my love for music, and then that kind of led me to the headshots. That's when I really found my specialty, I guess, was with the headshots. So
now, there's a lot more.
I got started with the music photography, though.
Yeah, but there's a lot more than just picking up a camera and taking a shot. There's lighting. There's everything else.
Yeah, no, you certainly, it's trial and error. I worked for a big rock and roll photographer in New York as an assistant. I watched him. He let me use his studio too, and that's how you learn, is by practicing, by maybe already looking at other photographers in magazines and books and trying to copy their style and figure out how did they get that look, that dramatic lighting or this lighting or whatever, and then you kind of try to copy it, but then you get your own style. Hopefully, that's the goal.
And that's one thing I really wanted to ask you about, is having a mentor and having someone who you could look up to that kind of has a style that you're going to go down that road. Right. Like in the 70s, this must have been, it's film. So this isn't just as easy as like shooting DSLR, and then all of a sudden you're just editing on the spot. Right. This is like, you only have a finite amount of film and you only have a finite amount of time, especially in rock scenarios. So let's talk about, what was it like being behind the scenes and getting some of these amazing shots?
Well, the concerts were that was difficult. And the thing is, like you said, with film, it's not like you could look down at the camera now and say, okay, that looks good. You're surprised. You're just hoping this is going to come out when you get the film 3 days later from the lab. But stage lighting is definitely not as easy as some people may think. That's very tricky. Light. So if you're shooting what they call available light, not the flash, you're trying to capture the mood of the lighting, but it's always changing, and you have to change your aperture, the settings on the camera as you're shooting. You maybe have to guess, or just you're shooting fast. Maybe they only gave you a few songs to shoot to at the beginning of the concert, then you're out of there. So it was pressure. It's hard to capture it.
How did you get access to all this? I mean, you're in the rock world. You're in New York.
Yeah, I made contacts through this. I worked for my boss for 2 years. I made contacts through him. I met people from record companies, from magazines, and he used to send me out for photo shoots because he started an agency. So basically, I started shooting, meeting people, and when I left him after 2 years, I had my contacts and just started getting jobs for magazines, record companies, and it was always in the photo pit shooting, which is an experience.
I can imagine. I just went to Tool over the week. last week, man. What an incredible experience.
Yeah.
And I could just imagine being like behind the scenes at one of those shows and taking shots and all that.
Yeah, meeting some really cool people, and I definitely have some stories. People have been trying to push me into doing a book, a tabletop book with my music photos, so I'm thinking about that.
No, there is no thinking. There is doing.
You're right.
You
Yeah.
have to do it. Come on,
Yeah,
Barry.
no, I will.
Everybody
Just gotta find the right
yeah.
publishers and who wants
Yep.
to do it for me, the right agent. So yeah, I'm gonna work on it for sure.
Well, if we know anything from the Protectors podcast is we have access to a million different publishers out there. So Simon and Schuster, HarperCollins, all you guys out there, if you were listening to this or your publicists are listening to this or they have contacts with agents, these are the kind of books that I want to see.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
should have
and
worn my phone number on my shirt. I didn't think of that.
we'll believe me, we'll have all the
Yeah,
links
no,
to
it's
you and
great.
everything else.
That'd be
And you're
great.
easy to find too.
Yeah.
What when you had this access, when you first started getting behind the scenes, you're a young guy. What artist really kind of like caught you like, wow, that is a rock star?
Well, that's easy. When I met Paul McCartney, for me, being a big Beatles fan, just basically, it was a backstage at at Madison Square Garden, and he kind of came walking in the room. That's kind of a funny story. I don't know what I can say on the podcast, but he's like, he's coming towards me, and I looked at him and said, "Holy shit!" I just looked him right in the face. That's all I can come up with. It's like, there's a freaking Beatles standing in front of me. So, for me, a big Beatles fan, that was pretty enormous. And he kind of read my lips and had a smirk, like, okay, I deal with this every day. And then so that was pretty wild.
Yeah, that must have like held on to you though. And you said, you know what? When you're photographing those people, and that's what a picture book really does come into an effect, is you're documenting history.
Right.
Nowadays, everybody has an iPhone, a digital camera. They're taking pictures of 1,000 million pictures of every concert, unless it's Tool where they ban you from using phones. But anyway,
Right.
but back then, not so many people had access to be behind the scenes and take those pictures. So yes, I think a picture book or a photographic legend book would be awesome, man.
Yeah, they wouldn't let anybody, unless you had one of those photo passes, they wouldn't let you in the stadium or the theater with a camera. They'd frisk you before you walk in. So it's not like you can whip out your phone. You just had to have a big bulky camera, and you couldn't get in unless you were working for somebody and had a backstage photo pass.
Now, were you bringing backup cameras back then, or you just like, hey, you know
Yeah,
what, I got one.
I would have I would have like two in case one died. You always have to have a backup for no matter what kind of shoot. I have them now in the studio in case in the middle of my shoot something dies.
Oh
Then I
yeah.
have one camera.
So how did you transition into the headshots?
I started from the music. I kind of had it in my head. Maybe I would be like a fashion photographer. It would be a cool thing shooting models. It's like I kind of got over that quick. I don't think I would have fit into the fashion world, but I was good at shooting people and beauty and making people look good and portraits, I guess. And then somebody introduced me. Hey, said, hey, you should contact the soap opera magazine because that's when soap operas in New York were big and the actors. And I did, and they hired me on the spot almost. And turned out the actors from the soap operas in New York started asking for me and requesting me. And I was realized that, I'm good at people are comfortable around me, and I knew how to light them. And then I just kind of built into the headshot. That became my thing that I really just knew how to capture. That's my favorite place, is to be in the studio capturing people.
This episode brought to you by Big Tex Ordnance. Head over to bigtexordnance.com. Here's why I love Big Tex Ordnance. If I need a part for my Glock, my AR, my anything, I hit them up, I check out their inventory, it's live. If it's showing up on their website, that means it is there. So check out Big Tex Ordnance for hassle-free customer service, hassle-free experience. They are all about the customer. If something goes wrong, contact them and they will take care of it. And if they can't, they will issue a full refund. Check out bigtexordnance.com. And you do a hell of a job. And there's a lot. Let's talk into what goes behind the scenes of a headshot. Like, I didn't realize when I went there that I would actually be getting made up with makeup and all that.
Yeah.
I was used to that from being into the studios for some of the media and stuff like that, but not for headshots. And there's a whole style about it. It's not just, hey, throw a little foundation on it, go throw a tie on, get in front of the camera. Let's talk about that. When you're setting up for a weekend, you're setting up way ahead of time. Like, you have one coming up pretty soon. Where's the next one up?
It's we come back to the Virginia, DC. Well, it's basically Alexandria, Virginia. When we come there 3 times a year, and I have a lot of following down there, so we sell out almost every weekend. Again, 3 times a year. I'm back. It's always on a weekend, so it's Saturday, April 30th, and May 1st. I'm coming back. So yeah, it's the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. There's a lot of actors. There's a lot of news people, which is part of my specialty. Political people, corporate people. So so it's a fun weekend. I have my whole staff down there. My great assistant down there, Reza. I got my makeup team down there. We have a great studio that we use, and it's a fun weekend. We've got music playing, we have food, we have drinks flowing. It's a fun time. It's not just they get great headshots, but I think they have a great experience. We take behind the scenes videos, interview people, so it's just a fun event, kind of. So yeah, but it's a lot of preparation. You have to make sure they're bringing the right clothes. You have to make sure they're prepared. I do more. Instead of preparing in advance, I'll wait till the client gets there. And I think that's one of my specialty is making them feel comfortable. I've had people say to me, "Well, what's your process?" And I'm like, "Just show up. You'll be good." It's like it's about me making people feel comfortable and just relax. And I think once they see the photos, I'll do 2 or 3 photos. I'll turn around, show it to them. They'll say they feel comfortable because they know they look good. So I'm
Isn't
pretty
that the greatest thing about digital now? I mean, can you imagine trying to do headshots back in the day?
Oh, I remember because I would
Yeah, I
back
was
then
gonna say
it was black and white, so I would shoot the film. I would have to walk like 15 blocks in New York to drop it off at the lab, come back 3 days later, pick up the contact sheets. The client would have to come back in, sit down, and go over them with me, then order 8x10. So yeah, no, I don't miss that at all.
and one thing here's my idea if someone really wants to invest in their career. And I just want to tell everybody right up front, Barry's not paying me for this. We're not exchanging any money and nothing's going on to this interview. But I've noticed I've used your pictures for so many different speaker events. Like I came in with a suit with different ties. I came in with
Right.
a black shirt. I came in with different outfits. So when Barry shoots you, not with a gun, when Barry shoots you, you could actually use those for a lot of different things. My
Right.
podcast cover, my media packet, my speaker hub, everything. So if you are in the podcast world and you're in any world, you are now a brand, and your face is part of your brand. That's what people are going to recognize. They're going to recognize your picture, and having that professional picture and spending the money to do it, which is not a huge investment. Do it. And let's talk about some of your clients you've had and where your photos have showed up when it comes to marketing.
Well, it's a pretty wide variety. I am lucky. Think I start off with the musicians. I have a lot of actors. I think I made my name in a lot with the political and news world. I do a lot of newscasters. I have a lot of high profile people that I've done. I just did the whole crew, the whole staff for Newsmax TV. So I did all their anchors. I did a day in DC and I did 2 days in New York City, and so I did all their anchors. And I've done other news broadcasts in New York, and I've seen my photos on bus billboards. So it's kind of cool, like driving around New York, and I'll get stuck at a stoplight, and there's a bus in front of me. And I'll see my photos right in front of me. So that's a nice experience, So yeah, so it's all kind of. I have doctors, I have attorneys, I have business people coming to me. So it's pretty much these days. A lot of people need headshots for, like you said, for speaking engagements, for websites.
Yeah, Tonto on there. I'm looking at your website right now, and you have like Tonto on there. You have all sorts
today, by the way.
What's that?
It's Chris's birthday today.
Oh yeah, happy birthday,
We'll give him a
Chris!
shout out. I shoot. I also have a name that I always give veterans discounts. Gold Star families, I do not charge.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So I'm very supportive of the military. So a lot of them come to me because a lot of them turn out to be speakers, or like Chris, and a lot of others who do TV appearances or just do speaking engagements. So they need photos too. So I always give veterans a discount.
Yeah, I really like to see. There's a lot of Gold Star families out there right now that are getting into the spotlight to kind of share their stories, and that's having you support them is a big thing. And you're very, very supportive of the veteran community.
Absolutely.
A lot of your posts, a lot of everything you do on social media does support the veteran community and law enforcement. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Means a lot to me.
Well, we appreciate the support, believe me.
Oh, sure.
So what's next? We're gonna do a book. You're gonna do the book. I'm gonna promote the hell out of that book.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll keep you posted when I do that. Hopefully soon I'm gonna get started on putting that together. I know it's gonna be a lot of work, but
it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah,
But the other thing, you have some really cool T-shirts on your site, man. How are the T-shirt sales going?
those are
Like
pretty
Stevie
good.
Ray Vaughan, Sting, all
Yes,
sorts of
well,
really cool things.
that's what I don't shoot the music stuff anymore, but I have a pretty cool library. So what I do is I sell them on T-shirts on the website and also frame photos, which there's probably it's on the website, and you see them displayed in my studio too. So I have some great legends: BB King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Robert Plant, and Michael Jackson. The list goes on and a lot of them are available on T-shirts on the website too. So yeah, I'm just kind of getting started with that. So hopefully that'll pick up.
I think it will, man. But it's this marketing, man. I'm telling people right now, headshots are like, uh, I cannot explain the importance of a headshot.
Yeah, especially if it's a good one, then
Now, you're gonna be traveling around. You do a lot in New York, Northern Virginia. Where else can everybody find you?
Well, for a while I was doing once a year I would go to Nashville, and I haven't been there since the whole COVID thing, but I'm hoping possibly to get back there. I'm going there on vacation soon, but I maybe want to start up shooting again because I love that area. I love Nashville. And I love the people there, and so I've had some great clients there also. So
Give a big
it was
shout out to Michael Broderick. He's out there now.
oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, a lot of people are moving there
Yeah,
actually.
there's a ton of people out there.
Yeah. But I travel. I went out to Maine. I was flown out by Tucker Carlson, so that was kind of cool to do his publicity photos for his
Oh, yeah.
website. So that was nice. I've been to Georgia in the past couple months, so people fly me out. But my steady places are really like that's my big thing is Virginia, DC area, right? We go 3 times a year.
Well, Barry, I'm really looking forward to seeing you next time you come out.
Yeah,
I'm
look forward to
definitely
seeing
up
you.
for it. Yeah, it's been about 2 years since I had headshots, so I think it's
Yeah,
about time I come back and
well,
get
love
some
to have
new
you back.
ones.
Love to have you back for sure.
Anything else you wanna talk about? Can't just let you go. What's tell me your biggest who is someone you'd really wanna take their picture? Living. Someone living.
Top of my list because I tell people when I started, it was like such an exciting, cool thing to meet rock stars and actors, as and it still is, I guess. But over time, due to my support of the military and law enforcement, for me, like meeting heroes is the best thing. If I meet a Navy SEAL or Medal of Honor recipient, that's the best. So I think right now, top of my list, one of the people would be Rob O'Neill. I've
Okay.
been trying to get him. I know, like people have been I've been putting feelers out. And I said, just get him in my studio. I love to photograph Rob O'Neill, or somebody like, or Medal of Honor recipient. I'd love to photograph.
Oh, that'd be
So yeah,
awesome. I'd love to see
that's
the
kind of
medal.
that's on my the big gets that I'd like to really get into the studio.
I think we're gonna make it happen. So
Yeah,
everybody out there, any Medal of Honor recipients are Rob O'Neill
yeah,
or anybody like that, and
yeah.
try
Marcus
to get
Luttrell's another one I'd love to get.
hey,
Heroes like that I love that are in
let's
the
get some Army guys. Come on,
yeah,
Barry. We
yeah,
gotta get some Army guys out there. So
yeah.
let's talk about some Army heroes. And,
And I have a pretty good on the website. You can see there's a section that's all veterans.
yeah, I saw
So
that.
yeah,
Yeah, you have
so
some really good stuff.
yeah, I just love photographing them. Yeah.
I better take a look and see if my picture's on that veteran site because I don't think it is, man. I'm gonna watch
I
you.
think you know what I think you're under promos because you're a
Oh,
show, I believe.
promos.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
man.
should actually. No, you should. Our shots are amazing. You do need to be under veterans. I really need to update it. So
I love these
veterans
shots, man.
take care of that one.
My daughter calls it, or not my daughter, someone called it like the cheesecake photo because he had me like
Was that
showing the
great?
tattoos
Showing
and
the
stuff.
muscles.
I'm like, yeah, man,
That's a great shot.
tattoos.
And it's,
I love it, man.
as
That's
soon
my
as you
favorite
sat
shot.
down and I saw that tattoo, I'm like, okay, we're gonna do the headshots, but we're gonna get some shots with the tattoo. I couldn't
Yeah,
pass that
man.
up. That's a
I'm
cool look.
looking forward to the next time. Well,
Yeah.
brother, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate it. And
Well,
everybody,
thank you.
make sure you check out Barry's website. You check out his schedule and see where he's going to be. Follow him on social media because he's always posting his schedule and where he's going to be. You
Yeah.
do want to sign up in advance and you do want to do it.
Well, I appreciate that, Jason. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the show.